down a little bit. If we're running behind, but we got right on line. Get this thing popping in a minute. You know what I mean? Already been thinking about what we're going to deal with all. It came last night. Came to my head last night, bro. Just been bouncing around in my head all day. So we'll see what it does and what it do. You need to take the internet way too serious. I promise that though. That's not gonna be that serious, girl. I promise it don't. Can't say I do that though. I gotta stop eating these things. I'm about to get out of here. So we're gonna be looking at something at 1 John 3 and 18, and whatever springs from that. You know, I already do, man. It just reinforced what we were talking about last Sabbath. When about should a wise man strive about with vain words. It was just a debate about should you keep the Sabbath or not? From some Christians and some Hebrews. No, the Christians were not disputing when the Sabbath was. They were just saying according to the new covenant that it didn't have to be kept. And that just be funny to me, but this is their argument. When they say, okay, you ain't got to keep it, this is their argument. Their argument is, why are you keeping the law when you don't keep the sacrifice parts of the law or the judgments parts of the law? You know what I'm saying? I found that kind of humorous. Our brother did say something to him. He did very well. This is afterwards. This is after the debate. They on a dude show talking about the debate. And dude was like, okay, you see Daniel, there was no sacrifice, there was no judgment, but yet there was mercy extended, statutes kept, people accepted. One of the biggest things I noticed with dudes when they in that particular matter is when brothers bring up Matthew chapter 23 and verse 3, where it clearly states that the master said that the scribes and Pharisees sit and Moses seat. Everything that you bid them, that they bid you to do, observe and do, but do not after their works. They overlook that. As if this man did not just say that everything that's in that Moses told the people to do, he's saying do it. I don't even know that it don't get no more cut and dry than that. You know what I'm saying? Dudes want to talk about church fathers and Tactius and St. Augustine, man, screw all them dudes. You know what I'm saying? It just be funny because, you know, they going back and forth. But I'd be like, why argue with a dude about should you keep the Sabbath or not? If he don't want to, if he feel like the master told him he didn't have to keep it, then let him not keep it then. Let him believe that. You know what I'm saying? Let him believe that. That's how I look at it. Let him believe that. You know what I'm saying? You don't never know. Y'all might want to believe that. One of them brothers was like, oh, I was in Hebrew roots for 5 years. I know where you going to go. You know what I'm saying? But it did go to show that when he said Hebrew roots, like, whatever he was dealing with, it wasn't doing nothing for his soul. Dealing with whatever he was dealing. You know, Hebrew roots is more so culture. You know, names, language, clothing, words. And it probably wasn't doing nothing for his soul. So he come back to look at Christianity and feel like it was doing something for his soul. And he ain't even realizing it. He was damned in both directions. That's very sad. You know what I'm saying? Very, very sad. Man, God. This jungle. This nonsense here, man. So, you know, it's like, brothers get caught up on stuff, man. You know what I'm saying? Like, if a person feel like they don't gotta be Kadesh, that's their prerogative. That's how I look at it. You know what I'm saying? For me, keeping this man instructions as simple as Paul wrote and said that we were called under Kadeshness. Peter wrote and said, actually quoted Leviticus 19 when he's saying, be ye Kadesh as he is Kadesh. And then the writer of Hebrews said that you must follow Kadeshness. So in order for us to know what's set apart, where can I go to find what is set apart? Now don't get it twisted. You know, you set apart from your faith in the Mashiach. That sets you apart first. But then what is set apart? What can I deem? Because this man is set apart. So what does he deem to be set apart that I have to follow to be like him? And I just don't understand people's rationale. You know what I'm saying? But no dudes argue with one argue, man. One of them dudes was getting emotional. You know what I'm saying? Like, that jump was crazy. That jump was real, real crazy. I don't know what dudes we think about sometimes. But what we're going to deal with, like I said, man, is in 1 John 3 and 18. In 1 John 3 and 18, he talks about, and we're going to actually read it itself. He talks about loving in deed and in truth. So you're looking at deed and in truth. You're talking about actions and in faith. That's what we'll sit back and look at. Because it's just clicking in my head as something I was thinking about naturally first. Just so people know. You know what I'm saying? It's like, you know what I mean? Like, and then it made me think about this song that I used to listen to a lot. Back in, you know what I'm saying, it came out in 97. This on Jay-Z's second album, In My Lifetime, Volume 1. Song called You Must Love Me. And the song he's talking about, like, I know the first verse he talking about when he shot his brother. It was like his brother asked to see him in the hospital. You know what I'm saying? Even after all that went down, he was like, okay, you must love me. I forget who he was talking about in the second verse. But I know the last verse, he was talking about a woman. You know what I'm saying? The woman was somebody he was cool with, not somebody he was sleeping with, but she was willing to transport dope for him. And he never wanted to do it, but she was with it. So he ended the lines, that verse with, you must love me. And what the song was about is that people who did not necessarily say that they loved him, they showed him that they loved him. Because I mentioned to this y'all on the Shabbat, like, you don't really see YAH stating how much he loved us. You don't actually see Hamashiach telling us that he loved us, like, repeatedly. You know what I'm saying? As human beings, at least in this generation, the time that I've been alive, most people want that reassurance of being told that someone loves them. Like we say, you know, you want somebody to show it to you, but most people want to hear it. They want to hear the person tell them that. You know what I'm saying? Irregardless of the fact that love is an action word and it's a verb, you know what I'm saying? And it's something that is manifested plainly, that if it's manifested, you'll know if somebody loves you. You know what I'm saying? But we also do know that in these days and times, people don't necessarily know what love is. And also, same token, because I was explaining this to a brother this morning. You got people feel like, this is how I want to be loved, and this is how you're going to love me. And if you won't love me this way, then I won't deal with you. You know what I'm saying? And then it made me think about the fact of, we try to tell the Most High how He is to love us. You know what I'm saying? Not how the manifestation of love is, but what we deem to be love and how we want to be loved. We try to craft a God in our own mind and put the living Elohim's name on it to say that this is love. You know what I'm saying? Like some people say, okay, you got tough love, but tough love is nothing but rebuke and chastening. Yah is on that. You know what I'm saying? He rebuked sharply. We done went through that. He chastened sharply. We done went through that. That's a manifestation of love. You have some people that feel like that's not love. Don't love me in that fashion. I don't take that as being love. You have people who literally feel this way. You know what I'm saying? Who literally feel this way. But to get that, that person doesn't have to tell you that they love you because they're showing it to you. Because we live in a society of people who do not want to be corrected, who don't want to be chastened, and who don't want to be rebuked. You know what I'm saying? The advent of teaching discipline is a form of love. We live in an undisciplined society, as far as in America is concerned. And people don't take that as love. For Yahuwah's strictness is a manifestation of His love. We don't take it in that fashion. You know what I'm saying? Because it restricts what we want to do. So therefore, we don't take that as love. You know what I'm saying? For this man, love was literally dying. Literally. Like, it's not too many times what a master told his apostles that He loved them. It's not too many times that He told them that. But He showed them that on a regular note. We have to get to the mind frame of not just loving with our mouths, but loving through the manifestation of your faith and through actions to where that love is manifest to everyone who can see it. You understand what I'm saying? Because if we don't do that, then we're just going to be doing what we're going to read in Ezekiel 33 and Isaiah 20. Places we done read before, but we're just going to read again for the sake of this conversation. Loving with your mouth. You know what I'm saying? We have mastered that art in this generation, in this dispensation of time, of loving with our lips, with words. But those words be empty because we say that we love and then we do things that are not indicative of those words. You know what I'm saying? Like I was talking to my homegirl the other day, and I told her, I said, some people feel like that I'm mean. And that a lot of different things. And she was like, no, you just got a strong personality. You know what I'm saying? Which is true, which I already know that. You know what I'm saying? She used the word assertive. You know what I'm saying? But for some people, that'll take them aback because everyone doesn't have a strong personality. You know what I'm saying? Everybody's not aggressive. And you can't necessarily tone back who you are to appease other people. Because in this society, that's deemed as being love. That you would fundamentally change who you are, your personality, not your character, your personality, to appease other people. You know what I'm saying? This book say to show love is to tell the truth. In this society, telling people what they need to hear versus what they want to hear, it's not considered to be love. You know what I'm saying? To hold people accountable. You know what I'm saying? That's not considered to be love in this society. It's considered to be love in the eyesight of Yahuwah. We don't look at it in that fashion. We don't even look at it in this fashion, and we've talked about it numerous times, that the manifestation of your faith is the strongest form of love that you can ever show this man. And that when you get in situations where your faith get tested and you fold up, you have basically showed this man that you do not love him. See, James told you this when he said he'll give a crown of life to those that love him when they're tempted. In the midst of the temptation is when the manifestation of your love is shown. If you get caught up in the midst of temptation and you fall victim to the temptation, you showed this man that you didn't love him. Regardless of what you say out your mouth. You just were putting it, when the master, and we probably read it anyway, when the master was tempted by the adversary, he could have showed that his love was to his food or to rulership. But he showed that his love was to his father because he didn't succumb to the temptation. Nevertheless, it's 7:45. We forget ready to pray. I'm just sitting there saying like that. There's a reason why the Apostle John wrote that. We need to love in deed and in truth. There's a reason why he said that. There's a reason why he said that. Because we really got to do that. We really have to turn to move to work in that type of avenue. You know what I'm saying? That we manifest our love in that fashion. Because if we don't, you don't want to get caught. There's a lot of people that say they love with their mouth. I'm talking about referring to Elohim. I'm not talking about to people. You know, we can deal with the people part secondary. I'm really talking about to YAH. You know what I'm saying? But a lot of people don't. You know what I'm saying? I just had a brother the other day, man. He was like, he posed a question, what's stopping our people from coming together? I told him it's a very simple answer. It's sin and unbelief. It's not that deep. And he was like, well, all of us say that we believe and we're trying to live as righteously as possible. There is no trying to live righteous. You either are or you aren't. And everybody doesn't believe. You know what I'm saying? So then you got to take in the fact of, then he asked, then I told him, there's children of the devil, there's children of YAH. Everybody don't belong to YAH. Everybody's not his child. And he was like, and he teaches the word. And he was like, how do you know a child of the devil? And I'm like, man. Children of Satan don't love YAH. First way you can see that because they don't trust him. I done said this before, man, and I'm going to say this again before we begin. Man, y'all make sure, man, that your heart is well knit, firm, and grounded in the faith. So that when you get tested, you don't fold. Because you never know if that's going to be your one and only exam. You need to keep that in mind. You may not get a whole bunch of shots like your ancestors got. You might not get another shot like David got. That could be your only shot. You know what I'm saying? Don't strike out. You gotta sit back. I want y'all to understand something. You sit back and you know that you're in a position where it's something that you want is getting put in your face just out of nowhere. Especially if you're in a weakened state. You know what I'm saying? For whatever reason. And something that you want get thrown in your face. Well, you better be on point. I'll be honest with you, right? And I'll probably explain this in more detail on the Sabbath. Just something just relative to myself, personally, like literally. But I'm gonna tell you something, man. Most of the time, people go for what they want versus what they need. You know what I'm saying? See, what you want comes very easily. Usually don't be no struggle to it. Usually comes at a time when you're in a very low state. I'm talking about if you're dealing with the word. What I'm going to be referring to is just something that just came about in the course of the conversation with somebody. That's along them lines, but not along them lines. But what you need, you're going to have to work for it. Might scare you a little bit. You know what I'm saying? Might not even be something that you thought you even wanted. Might not even been something that you was anticipating getting. You know what I'm saying? But it's worth it though. We have a bad habit as black people is concerned and people as a whole of going after what you want versus what you need. Because what you want look real good, it'll make you feel good, all these type of things. And that's another thing that I was going to get into, but I don't know if I'm going to get into that there, man. I might wait for Saturday for that. But when that man say, what profit a man to gain the whole world and lose his soul, please don't think that's just talking about money and riches. Because to gain the world is to gain the things that you want. And what gain are you going to get if you get everything that you want and you die? You know what I'm saying? What good is it if you're happy in this world but you perish? Because I'm trying to tell you, y'all can give you whatever you want to give you. But I'll be honest with you, you can't have it all. You know, people make you think you can have everything in your world. You can't have it all, man. You're going to have to lose something. You're going to have to give something up. You know what I'm saying? Most people ain't gave nothing up. That's why he ain't gave them nothing. As far as it's talking about spiritual blessings is concerned. You know what I'm saying? And we'll be getting into that on the Sabbath, man. When I tell you, because we're going to deal with something in 2 Timothy, man. I done talked to y'all about it before, but I'm just taking a different track with it. This particular time, just since I was listening to a song and it just popped in my head, that's how I be feeling sometimes. And it's just talking about warfare. And what I'm going to be talking about ain't necessarily for everybody, because everybody can't, it's not going to be called to go to battle, to go to war. You know what I'm saying? But if any of y'all know anything about the military, if a soldier in the army, even if it's at certain times they call him to war, he got to go. It don't matter what him and his wife had planned. It didn't matter what him and his kids had planned. None of that matters when it's time to go to war. You know what I'm saying? We don't think about that type of stuff. You know, some people feel like, you know, you're supposed to be happy and serve y'all and do everything that you want. And to a certain extent, that's true. But to a certain extent, it's not true. Because you might end up gaining the whole world and you might lose him trying to do everything that you want to do. You know what I'm saying? That's going to come down to loving the deed and the truth. Like, you can live it up now and have a good time now and do everything that you want now. Or you could give everything up now and seem like you can't have the fun that other people are having or do the things that other people are doing, but be in a place that none of them can go to. You know what I'm saying? I understood that before I started. I know before I was preaching this. You know what I'm saying? You're going to give everything up. But it's something that you're going to get that everybody's not going to get. Nevertheless, let us pray. All right. Righteous Father, we thank you for thy mercies, thy goodness, and thy salvation. We thank you for thy word. We thank you for the manifestation of thy word in the flesh by way of your Son, Yahushua HaMashiach. We ask you to look upon this people whom you have named Yasharal, the people you have chosen above all people upon the earth according to the covenant which you swore to our fathers Abraham, Isaac, and Yasharal. We ask you to guide and strengthen this people, to the Yahudim first, and also to the heathen, all those who look upon thee and serve thee and ruach in the truth. Strengthen them according to thy righteousness and according to thy mercies, that their word might resonate in their hearts, that they might be directed by it. They may not lean to their own understanding, but to lean upon you, that they might be quickened to life everlasting, to dwell with thee in the city of righteousness, the city of Shalom, Jerusalem, to stand before thee and behold thy face, to receive thy mark in their foreheads, that we might sing praises to you continually. And we sing to the firstborn individually and collectively, and let the love of Mashiach dwell in our hearts by faith. Guide us and strengthen us according to the word of salvation, which has been preached by thy servants, the prophets, and the apostles of your Son, Yahushua HaMashiach. Guide us and lead us according to thy word, and let us not walk our own steps, but direct our steps, that we might be counted worthy to receive the precious gift of the Ruach HaKodesh, to be quickened to life everlasting, to be deemed thy sons and daughters, to be a partaker of thy covenant, a partaker of thy righteousness, and the gift of eternal life, which you have shed upon us by the Ruach HaKodesh, by way of your Son. That we receive further, Father, we ask thee for a word from high, word, truth, and righteousness to come to us, and we've been knowing that is true, and we are in that is true, even our Son, Yahushua HaMashiach. This is the true Elohim and eternal life. Hallelujah. Praise, esteem, and honor to the Most High Yahuwah B'Hashem Yahushua this day. So be it. John 5:39. After that verse, John 3:18. Ooh, boy. You know, it's real out here in these streets, man. It's real out here in these streets, man. Souls are on the line. Lives are in the balance. And only Yahuwah knows what a man ain't gonna be.
Search the scriptures, for in them you think you have eternal life, and they are they which testify of me. And you will not come to me that you might have life. I'm sorry, we got to give praise and esteem and honor to the Most High Yah by way of His Son, Yahushua HaMashiach, and say hallelujah for Yahushua. Now we will read John 5:39. Search the scriptures, for in them you think you have eternal life, and they are they which testify of me. And you will not come to me that you might have life. I receive not honor from men, but I know you, that you have not the love of Elohim in you. I come in my Father's name, and ye receive me not. If another shall come in his own name, him you will receive. How can you believe which receive honor one of another, and seek not the honor that comes from Elohim only? That's what a lot of people's problem is. They don't seek the honor that comes from Elohim only. They want honor from men. Now, what I be meaning a lot of times, I say, I don't care. I don't care what anybody thinks about me. I don't care what anybody says about me. It doesn't really matter. You know what I'm saying? That's when you need to, number one, you need to be secure and confident in yourself. Before you could ever be secure and confident in your Elohim, to not even care what anyone thinks about you. See, there's a lot of people serve Yah, but they're not secure and confident in Yah, so therefore they're concerned what other people think or say about them. Therefore, that's why they're seeking the honor from men and not the honor that comes from Elohim only. Therefore, it's not possible for them to actually believe in Yahuwah. You know what I'm saying? Isaiah chapter 29, verse 13. Oh boy, this junk gonna catch up with me one day. It's gonna catch up with me one day. Make it 29:8 though. Read verse 8 though. Isaiah 29:8 though. Just kind of feel like reading it though. And it says, it shall be even as when a hungry man dreams. And behold, he eat, but he awake, and his soul is empty. Or when a thirsty man dream, and behold, he drink, but he awake, and behold, he is faint, and his soul have appetite. So shall the multitude of all nations be that fight against Mount Zion. Now he talking about how these people are going to be who fight against him. But it's just something that just popped in my head. A little different. A little different. Hold this and look at Job chapter 15. Make sure that's what it is. Oh boy. Y'all pardon me. Matter of fact, make it Job 20. It was Job 20. But well, we can get Job 15. We'll read Job 15 and 31. Make it 30. Job 15 and 30. Then we'll read Job 20. And then we'll go to Titus chapter 1. Listen to the man. He shall not depart, this is Job 15 and 30. He shall not depart out of darkness, the flame shall dry up his branches, and the breath of his mouth shall he go away. Now remember, he just said this is what's going to happen, you know, they're going to be somebody hungry and thirsty, you know what I'm saying, dreaming that they got something to drink, dreaming that they got something to eat, and they're going to wake up and they're not going to have anything. Now this man just sat back and said he won't depart out of darkness. The flame shall dry up his branches, and by the breath of his mouth shall he go away. Let not him that is deceived trust in vanity, for vanity shall be his recompense. Now the thing what we sit back looking at is the people that he was just referencing in Isaiah 29 were deceived by worthlessness. Most people are deceived by worthlessness because man's thoughts are vain. The book tells you that the heart is desperately wicked and deceitful above all things. That the heart is deceitful above all things and desperately wicked. The book says a man who follows his own heart is a fool. So when he says, let him that is deceived not trust in vanity, this is going again in regards of people who trust in their own way. You know what I'm saying? Scribes and Pharisees, they were deceived because they trusted in their own way. You know, Hosea told you not to sow amongst the thorns. He said because you trusted in their own way and in the multitude of your mighty men. It's the same token as you sitting back and you looking at leaning not to your own understanding. See, a lot of times we like to fall back on our own thoughts and our own way and our own devices. And you know what? Hold this right here, right? And come to Luke 14. We'll be looking at Luke 14 again, most high willing, throughout the week. Look at Luke 14. This is the first step of not being deceived by vanity and worthlessness. This is Luke 14 and 26. He said, if any man come to me and hate not his father and mother and his wife and children and brethren and sisters, yea, in his own life also, he cannot be my disciple. Whosoever doth not bear his stake and come after me cannot be my disciple. Now I'm going to tell you something, right? And you come back to Job 15. You know, the master is making a very, very strong statement. The statement that he's making is that you can't choose to do what you want to do. That you have to come after him. Now, we're not going to read 2 Thessalonians chapter 2. But you know, it says he sends a strong delusion that people should believe a lie because they had a pleasure in unrighteousness. Or they had a pleasure in vanity or things that are worthless. You know, Paul stated in the Philippians, the 3rd chapter, about how their Elohim or their God is their belly and that they mind earthly things. They mind vanity. See, hold this, 1 John chapter 2, verse 15. I got to crank it up a little quick, though. 1 John 2 and 15. After that, Isaiah chapter 40. Let's see what direction we're going to go in. See what we get. 1 John 2 and 15, though. Love not the world, neither the things that are in the world. If any man love the world, the love of the Father is not in him. For the lust of the world and the love of the world and the lust of the flesh. See the page, Miss Lynn. I'm trying to make that okay. But I don't want to say the wrong thing. It says, love not the world, neither things that are in the world. If any man love the world, the love of the Father is not in him. For all that is in the world, the lust of the flesh and the lust of the eyes and the pride of life, is not of the Father, but is of the world. And the world pass away in the lust thereof, but he that do the will of Elohim abide forever. Now the will of Elohim was just stated by the manifestation of his son. His son said you're going to have to hate everything in your own life, your family, your friends, your wives, all of that. And to mortify your members, to murder yourself, to crucify yourself, and to come after him. Or he said if you don't do that, you're not worthy of him. You're not going to be able to be instructed by him. Which means to a certain extent, which most I will not be able to tie it in both ways. To include everybody and not just people who preach and what I'm going to deal with, y'all willing, on the Shabbat. But that means you're getting called to go to war. And if you're going to get called by Elohim to go to war, then you're going to have to lay your life down. The reason why a lot of us are not willing to do that because we're deceived by vanity. You know what I'm saying? Man's thoughts altogether are vain, as the book says. And then this is what happens. Let's look at Isaiah chapter 40. That's why he says, let not him that is deceived trust in vanity, for vanity shall be his recompense. After this, Isaiah 40, Matthew chapter 15. Let me see what we want out of Isaiah chapter 40, man. Isaiah 40 and 6. It says, the voice said, cry. And he said, what shall I cry? All flesh is grass, and all the goodliness thereof is as the flower of the field. The grass wither, the flower fade, because the spirit of Yahuwah blow upon it. Surely the people is grass. The grass wither, the flower fade, but the word of Elohim shall stand forever. The world ain't sitting here letting you know. The spirit of Elohim bloweth upon it. You should remember that it say fire will come out of his mouth from the 11th chapter of this very same prophet. You just seen him say something about blowing in Job. You know what I'm saying? And all because we are as people in a dream, because The dream is our own lust and desires and the vanity that we go after. And that man said, don't you trust in that vanity if you've been deceived. Because you know, have you been deceived? Because he said your heart has been hardened through the deceitfulness of sin. So sin can deceive you to trust in things that are worthless. You know, it's people who trust in worthless people and vain people. See, vanity just doesn't necessarily belong to being things or places. It could be people. The people that we cleave to, the people that we seek after, they could be vain altogether, worthless, reprobate for lack of a better term. Because that's all reprobate is worthless. That's what vanity is, things that are worthless. We have to make sure that we don't train our hearts and minds to be caught up in things that are worthless. Now, I want you to really understand and pay attention to what I'm saying. I'm not saying that you have to live your life as a hermit and all you have to do is just read the book all day long and just sit in the house and this, that thing, and that. That's not what I'm saying. You know what I'm saying? What I'm saying is to make sure that your mind doesn't get deceived by things that are worthless. Because if you observe lying vanities, you forsake your own mercy, and therefore you'll be destroyed. Because you had nothing, so therefore you'll get nothing. See, I want you to hear what this man said in Matthew chapter 15. I don't want you to go out like that. I don't want you to be serving this man for nothing. It's a lot of people serving this man for nothing. They're going to get nothing. That need not be any of you. 15 and 8, and he's going to quote what we went Isaiah 29 for in the first place. This people draw nigh unto me with their mouth and honor me with their lips, but their heart is far from me. But in vain they do worship me, teaching for the doctrines, the commandments of men. So he says, in vanity it's worthless. See, come on, Colossians chapter 2. See, and any of y'all who've been around me long enough know that I'll tell you this. You supposed to double check everything we go through. Don't take my word for it. Even if we just read it off the page, you still supposed to go double check that. Shalom, Brother Harrison. You still supposed to go check that. You still supposed to go check that. You still supposed to go check that. Because you want to make sure you ain't following no doctrine, no commandments of men. You following the doctrine of your Elohim. Because he said, my doctrine is not mine, but he is that sent me. If any man know a doctrine, he doesn't know if I speak of him or do I speak of myself. He said, he that seek of his own esteem, speak of himself, seek of his own glory. But he that seek the glory of him that sent me, the same is true, and there's no iniquity in it. That's what the master said. Colossians though, chapter 2, verse 20. Wherefore, if you be dead with Mashiach, because remember we just talked about that. You know, mortify yourself with him. For the rudiments of the world, why as though living in the world are you subject to ordinances? Touch not, taste not, handle not, which all to perish with the using after the doctrines, after the commandments and doctrines of men. See, it's a lot of people that follow the doctrines and commandments of men. You know, I done had people tell me, like, I want to control people. You know what I'm saying? This, that, and the third. I don't want to control nobody because niggas is grown. Every one of y'all grown. You know what I'm saying? All I can do is show you the word to show you what is going to please Elohim, that your faith might be increased. What you do on your day-to-day basis, that stuff really ain't none of my business. You know what I'm saying? I'm not going to ask no detailed questions about your life. Whatever you choose to speak on, you know, that's cool. You know what I'm saying? But a lot of times people feel like you're trying to control them when you tell them that the things that they want to do don't line up with this book. But as I told people before, I can't tell you what to do. I can tell you what the book say. I can't tell you what to do. I can't regulate to you what you know what end up coming in at is you trying to save people from themselves. And then they reject you for it. This is what they did to Moses. This is what they did to the prophets. And lastly, this is what they did to Mashiach. He was trying to save us from ourselves. But we hate ourselves so much that we can't see the manifestation of that love of someone trying to save you from yourself. To try to turn you from your sins. Turn you from your iniquities. We can't see that that's love. We can't see that deed. Isaiah 29, because I got to get to that point. Hold on, let me finish this Job 15, my bad. Listen to him. In the 31st verse. Let not him that is deceived trust in vanity, for vanity shall be his recompense. It shall be accomplished before his time, and his branch shall not be green. He shall shake off his unripe grape as the vine, and he shall cast off his flower as the olive. For the congregation of hypocrites shall be desolate, and the fire shall consume the tabernacles of bribery. They conceive mischief and bring forth vanity, and the belly prepare deceit. Now, I could go and precept this all the way out, but for the moment, the congregation of hypocrites are the scribes and the Pharisees. That was a body of hypocrites. Remember in Matthew 23, the master called them hypocrites repeatedly. And they will consume, and the fire will consume the tabernacles of bribery, because they bribed Judas with 30 shekels of silver to deceive, to turn in the master. So when he sent back and he tell them that they conceived mischief, and their heart had the wicked imaginations, and they brought forth worthlessness, because why do people imagine a vain thing? This is Psalms chapter 2. Because if they would have known what they were doing, they would have realized that what they was doing was worthless, that they were actually, in killing Hamashiach, they were actually furthering salvation. You can even tie this in with Joseph and his brothers, but nevertheless. When he say they belly prepared deceit, meats for the belly, belly for the meats, Elohim shall destroy it and them. Their Elohim is their belly. You know what I'm saying? Cursed be the serpent to go upon his belly. Satan entered into Judas's heart, and therefore he came with deceit, because he sought to deceive the son of Elohim with a kiss. And therefore they were burned and they were destroyed, because they trusted in vanity. They trusted in worthlessness. They trusted in their position, their title, their money, as if that was going to deliver them. But they died. Job chapter 20, verse 5. That the triumph of the wicked is short, and the joy of the hypocrite but for a moment. When they said they went in that short period of time, they had that dream. That they had water. That they had bread, but they woke up, they didn't have anything. It's a lot of people that are real lives, say one thing and live another. Don't really believe a word. Just put on the front for people to see. And they're triumphing this but for a moment. What joy will they have? And see, that's going to go into what we'll be talking about on Saturday, most high willing. Let's finish this Isaiah 29. I'm just setting the stage for a couple things. I ain't finna run through everything. Just trying to set that stage. 29th chapter of Isaiah. We in verse 9. Say to yourselves in wonder, cry ye out, cry. They are drunken, but not with wine. They stagger, but not with strong drink. For you who have poured upon the ruach of deep sleep, and have closed your eyes, the prophets and your rulers and the seers have ye covered. And the vision of all has become unto you as the words of a book that is sealed, which men deliver to one that is learned, saying, read this, I pray thee. He saith, I cannot, for it is sealed. And the book is delivered to him that is not learned, saying, read this, I pray thee. He saith, I am not learned. Wherefore Yahuwah said, for as much as this people draw near me with their mouth and with their lips, and honor me, lips do honor me, but have removed their heart far from me, and their fear towards me is taught by the precepts of men. He said their heart. In Isaiah, he said they listen to your words, but they will not do them, because their heart go after their covenants. Psalm 78 says the same thing. They were not steadfast in the covenant. They flattered with the lips, but their heart was far from it. Far from him. Deuteronomy chapter 4, verse 6. After that, verse 3 and 18. Deuteronomy chapter 4. I'm sorry, Deuteronomy chapter 6, verse 4. I had it backwards. Little tired. Deuteronomy 6 and 4. Listen. Hear, O Yasharah, Yahuwah our Elohim is one Yahuwah. And thou shalt love Yahuwah thy Elohim with all thy heart, with all thy soul, and with all thy might. Remember, we dealt with this. This is dealing with faith. He said their heart is far from it. So they really don't believe in it. See, this is the reason why I sat back, and that's why we read that. 1 John 3 and 18. You just have to set the stage. The law said to love this man with all your heart and all your strength and all your soul is to trust him, is to believe in him. He said these are children in whom have no faith, no amunah, no amat, no firmness, no soundness, no faithfulness, no nothing. First John 3 and 18. My little children, let us not love in word, neither in tongue, but in deed and in truth. And hereby we know that we are of the truth, and shall assure our hearts before him. Now, how are we going to know that we are the faith? He said, examine yourselves whether you be of the faith or not, lest you be reprobate. He said, let us love in deed and in truth. Let's look at Romans chapter 4, verse 23, and then we'll look at Abraham. But I want y'all to see something before we actually go look at Abraham. To show you how he loved indeed, how he didn't have to tell you who he loved him. He showed you who he loved him based off what he did. Romans chapter 4, verse 20, though. I might get there eventually. Make it 17. Make it 16. Romans 4 and 16. Therefore it is of faith that it might be favored to the end the promise might be sure to all the seed, not to the only which is of the Torah, but to that also which is of faith of Abraham, who was father of us all. As it is written, I have made thee a father of many nations, before whom he believed, even Elohim, who quickened the dead, and called those things which be not as though they were, who against hope believed in hope, that he might become the father of many nations, according to that which was spoken, so shall thy seed be. And being not weak in faith, he considered not his own body now dead, when he was about 100 years old, neither yet the deadness of Sarah's womb. He staggered not at the promise of Elohim through unbelief, but was strong in faith, giving esteem to Elohim, and being fully persuaded that what he had promised he was also able to perform. Therefore it was imputed to him for righteousness. Now, all I was going to go and read in Genesis was Genesis, the 12th chapter, where he first told him he'd make him a father of many nations, and he told him to get out from amongst his kindred and to go to the place that he told him to. And Abraham manifested his love for Elohim because he went. Abraham manifested his love for Elohim because he was willing to sacrifice Isaac. Not because he was willing to sacrifice Isaac. Hebrews chapter 11. To show you why, not the act of the actual willing to sacrifice Isaac, but his mind, his heart. Hebrews 11 and 17. After that, James chapter 2. We have to learn to love in action and in faith. Now, when we love in action and in faith, then your hearts can be assured before Elohim that he will receive you. Hebrews 11:17, by faith Abraham, when he was tried, offered up Isaac, and that he had received the promises, and he that had received the promises, my apologies, offered up his only begotten son, of whom it was said that in Isaac shall thy seed be called, accounting that Elohim was able to raise him up, even from the dead, from whence also he received him in a figure. This is the love and the confidence that he had, that this is what he was willing to do because he loved the person who promised this to him. If you believe that Elohim is not a man that he should lie, nor the son of a man that he should repent, if he says, shall he not do it, then it's easy for you to love him in action and in faith. Therefore, your faith wouldn't be dead because the works will be coupled with it. A lot of people say, they love Yah, they love. Let me tell you something, right? You can't love anybody till you love Yah first and foremost. Let's say this here, right? It trickles down like this here, right? You can't love anyone until you love yourself. Once you love yourself, you're able to love another human being. But truth be told, you can't actually learn to love yourself until you actually learn to love Yahuwah. When you learn to love Yahuwah, then of course you would have learned to love yourself. Therefore, you would treat your neighbor as you would want to be treated. Or, as he says, you treat your neighbor as thyself, to love thy neighbor as thyself. A lot of our people can't love their neighbor as themselves because they don't love themselves. And when I say love themselves, I ain't even just talking about, I'm talking about insecurity, lack of confidence, lack of belief in yourself. You have hatred in yourself. You know what I'm saying? You have issues where you don't feel good about yourself. So therefore that manifests itself outwardly towards other people. And we already know if you got that going on, you can't love Yah, because your mind will always be drifting off into other things until you are tried. James chapter 2. Oh, James chapter 2, verse 20. We show another man that loved Elohim in deed and in faith. We look at two of them. A couple people that we mentioned in that roll call in Hebrews 11. James 2 and 20. But without no, O vain man, that faith without works is dead. Was not Abraham our father justified by works when he offered up Isaac his son upon the altar? See thou how faith wrought with his works. By works was faith made perfect. And the scripture was fulfilled, which saith, Abraham believed Elohim, and it was imputed unto him for righteousness, and he was called the friend of Elohim. Let's look at Genesis chapter 18 real quick. You don't read anywhere at any time Abraham telling Yahuwah that he loved him, but yet Yahuwah knew it. Look at the statement, and we're going to read the statement in Genesis 18 that he made about Abraham for us to know that he knew that he loved him. You know what I'm saying? Like it's here, right? And not as if Yahuwah needed that from any of us, but I just speak it on the natural sense. One of the greatest forms of love that another human being can show another person. A lot of people will tell you, I believe in you. I believe you could do this. I believe you could do this. But they don't really rock with you. You know what I'm saying? They don't really ride with you on whatever it is that you're going on to do. You know what I'm saying? But when somebody does rock with you, and they don't even state that they believe in you, they just showed that they believe in you, you know that this person has love for you, that they love you. Because their actions show that. It made me think about when I used to sit back and watch some documentaries to hear Jay talk about Dame Dash, that Dame was one of the only people that believed in him. You know what I'm saying? That believed in it. And when you sit back and look at that, you sit there and look like that's my nigga. I love this nigga because this nigga loves me because he believes in me. And he's not just telling me he believes in me. He's putting his time, he's putting his energy, he's putting his money into me. Well, then we turn around and we look at Yahuwah. Yahuwah says he's the living Elohim. If we would show forth our love for him by believing in him. And if we believe in him, that means we put our time, which is to meditate on his word, to digest his word, to gather to hear his word, and to operate in his word. You know what I'm saying? We would put our energy into it. We would do just like what we read in Luke chapter 14. You would forsake all. And you would despise your own life, meaning you would resist and deny yourself and what you want and what others want from you for him, because you believe, like faith, you say you could, like you say, he say, confession coming from the heart. Faith, like, you know what I'm saying? But you have to believe that in your mind, in your heart, for you to confess that Yahushua is Mashiach, he the Master. You know what I'm saying? But even with that still, you'll confess it with your actions, with your behavior. You say our behavior, our conduct is in Shamayim, our conversation is in Shamayim. You know what I'm saying? That we put off the former behavior. So we would manifest our love by what we do. And you wouldn't even have to utter it. You wouldn't even have to utter it. You wouldn't even have to utter it. We'll sit back and we're going to see that with Daniel. Where he say Daniel was a man greatly beloved. Why? You don't see Daniel running around saying, "Yah, I love you." He showed him. through his faith. You know what I'm saying? And then through his faith, his actions was manifested with that. That's where you get both. Genesis 18. You know, we got to get a couple witnesses. We looking at Abraham. He one witness. We got to put another one. 18 and 17. And Yahuwah said, shall I hide from Abraham that thing which I do? Seeing that Abraham surely shall become a great and mighty nation, and all the nations of the earth shall be baruched in him. But I know him, that he will command his children and his household after him, and they shall keep the way of Yahuwah to do justice and judgment, that Yahuwah may bring upon Abraham that which he has spoken of him. Yah knew Abraham loved him. Abraham didn't have to tell him. He already knew it. He said, I know him. He'll do justice and judgment, teach his household the way of Yah. I know him. I know he loves me. I know him. That's why he turned around and he told the people, depart from me, you work of iniquity. I never knew you, because I know that you will not do justice and judgment. You will not keep the way of Yahuwah. Why else would he tell you, I don't know you? You won't do what's upright. You won't execute judgment, and you won't stay in the way. So of course he doesn't know you, because you don't love him. Your faith and your actions have showed it. That's why we have to look at that and consider and weigh. Daniel chapter 6. Dang, I ain't got no water. Just going to have to wait it out. Oh, man. Daniel chapter 6. Daniel chapter 6. Verse 6. It is 8:24. Daniel 6 and 6. These presidents and princes assembled together. Make it verse 5. Then said these men, we shall not, matter of fact, make it 4. Then the presidents and princes, make it 3. Then this Daniel was preferred above the presidents and princes because an excellent ruach was in him. The king thought to set him over the whole realm. Then the presidents and princes sought to find occasion against Daniel concerning the kingdom, but they could find none occasion nor fault for as much as he was faithful. He was faithful. Neither was there any error or fault found in him. Hold what you got. Acts 24 and 14. Say Daniel was faithful. It wasn't no fault, no error. It wasn't nothing in him. After that, 1 John 3 and 4. Oh, man. Acts 24 and 14. But this I confess unto thee, that the way which they call heresy, so worship I the Elohim of my fathers, believing all things that are written in the Torah and in the prophets. Now this is because they persecuting Paul for preaching Yahushua HaMashiach. And that's what he's referring to when they say, though what he's talking about is heresy. Because I'm going to tell y'all no joke, man, no lie, man. The some brews, man, us saying the whole book about the Mashiach and going through certain things and looking at him and seeing him and manifesting him, they take that as a heresy. No exaggeration. And have hope towards Elohim, which they themselves also allow, that there shall be a resurrection of the dead, both of the just and unjust. And herein I do exercise myself to have always a conscience void of offense towards Elohim and towards man. That's how we need to begin to start exercising or moving ourselves and make sure that our mind is void of offense towards man and Elohim. Therefore we can show ourselves to be perfect men. See, sometimes people will be offended at you and you really ain't did nothing. You need to know when you actually done something to offend someone and when someone's just offended because they're a pansy. 1 John 3 and 5. Because this is what Paul said he moved to exercise himself as. Because sometimes, the Master told you in Luke 17, offenses must come. But woe unto him through the offenses come. Because your brother will offend you. It's going to happen. It's going to happen. People are going to offend you. That's life. Some offenses are not going to be sins. So you need to understand that. You can offend your brother and not be a sin. You can offend your sister and not be a sin. But people are going to offend you. So, gotta keep that in mind. 1 John 3 and 5. Though. And you know that he was manifested to take away our sin, and in him is no sin. Whosoever abide in him sin not, and whosoever sin have not seen him nor known him. Little children, let no man deceive you. He that do righteousness is righteous, even as he is righteous. So when we come back to Daniel 6, when we look at it, we see there was no fault and no error in Daniel. And we're going to turn around and you're going to sit back and look at that Daniel's going to be called greatly beloved, just like the Master was called, just like the Father said, this is my beloved Son in whom I'm well pleased. And that we need to take on the Son. And that when we take on the Son, we will become beloved sons. And that's what you want to be. You want to have no fault or error in you. This is what Paul was saying. He wanted to exercise himself to have no fault or error with him. That he could love in deed and in truth. Because that's what he was saying in Acts 24. That he would want to love in deed and in truth. Through the manifestation of my faith and my actions. Daniel chapter 6. Lord, man. Verse 5. Then said these men, we shall not find any occasion against this Daniel, except we find against him concerning the Torah of his Elohim. Then these presidents and princes assembled together to the king and said thus unto him, King Darius live forever. All the presidents of the kingdom and the governors and the princes and the counselors and the captains have consulted together to establish a royal statute, to make a firm decree that whosoever shall ask a petition of any Elohim or man for 30 days, save with thee, O king, he shall be cast into the den of lions. Now, O king, establish the decree and sign the writing, that it be not changed according to the law of the Medes and Persians, which alter not. Wherefore King Darius signed the writing and the decree. So this is how they say they want to get at it. They want to see how much he loves his Elohim. He's being tried. He's being tempted. He's being tested. Let's see what happens. Now, when Daniel knew that the writing was signed, he went into his house, and his windows being open in his chamber towards Jerusalem, he kneeled upon his knees 3 times a day and prayed and gave thanks before his Elohim as he did aforetime. He didn't care. See, he loved Elohim indeed. He's showing Elohim he loved him. He knew that a decree in writing had been made that he can't petition another God for 30 days. He went and did it anyway, with his windows open. Like what? Then these men assembled and found Daniel praying and making supplication before his Elohim. Then they came near and spake before the king concerning the king's decree. Hast thou not signed a decree that every man shall ask a petition of any god or man within 30 days, say that thee, O king, shall be cast in the den of lions? The king answered and said that the thing is true, according to the law of Medes and Persians, would alter not. Then answered they and said before the king, that Daniel, which is of the children of captivity of Yehuda, regard not thee, O king, nor the decree that thou hast signed, but make his petition 3 times a day. If y'all want to know where that's at, that's Psalm 55. He say, morning, evening, and noon, I shall cry aloud and I shall be heard. That's why Daniel's praying 3 times a day. He just didn't decide to pray 3 times. Hold this and get Psalm 55 for them that don't know. 55 and 17. Because I do pray 3 times a day at these same exact times, and this is why, because of what's in the book. Psalms 55 and 16. As for me, I will call upon my Elohim, and Yahuwah shall save me. Evening and morning and noon, and at noon will I pray and cry aloud, and he shall hear my voice. And if you want to know why Daniel was praying towards Jerusalem, it was because of 1 Kings chapter 8, verse 46. Daniel knew what the book said. All he was doing was what was in the book. He just didn't decide to pray toward Jerusalem because he wanted to. He just didn't decide to pray 3 times a day because he just thought that was a neat thing to do. He knew what the book said. So he knew at evening he prayed, at morning he prayed, and at noon he prayed. That's what he did. You can see the master doing the same thing when he got ready to die. That evening, morning, and noon, he cried aloud. Nevertheless, Daniel chapter 6. You drop down about verse 20. Oh boy. And when he came to the den, he cried with a lamentable voice, Daniel, and the king spake and said to Daniel, O Daniel, servant of the living Elohim, is thy Elohim, whom thou serve continually, able to deliver thee from the lions? Then said Daniel unto the king, O king, live forever. My Elohim have sent his Malachim and have shut the lions' mouths, that they have no hurt me, for as much as before him innocency was found in me, and also before thee, O king, have I done no hurt. See this here, this is again lining up what Paul said, because King Darius, we didn't read it, but King Darius was trying to deliver Daniel. See, Daniel had exercised himself not to have any offense between Elohim and man. And his hope was in his Elohim that he would deliver him. And he manifested his love in deed and in truth. Not just with his lips, not in word only. He showed him. He didn't have to tell you who at one time he loved him. He showed him. Then was the king exceedingly glad for him and commanded they should take Daniel up out of the den. So Daniel was taken up out of the den, and no manner of hurt was found upon him, because he believed in his Elohim. See, he didn't stagger at the promise either. He said he delivers those who keep his commandments, show mercy upon thousands of those that love him and keep his commandments. And the king commanded that they brought those men which had accused Daniel, and they cast them in the den of lions, them, their children, and their wives. And the lions had mastery of them, and break all their bones in pieces, or ever they came at the bottom of the den. Look at James 1 and 12. We'll look at the master, how he manifested his love and called it a night. After James 1 and 12, Romans chapter 5. We see two things with Abraham, and we see we see certain things with Abraham and with Daniel. It's that they didn't love Elohim with their mouth and with their lips. They manifested their love for him by walking before him in Ruach and in truth, in deed and in truth. Their faith manifested the actions which they worked and showed forth their belief in him. That's something that we have to keep in mind. James 1 and 12. Baruch is the man that endured temptation, for when he is tried, he shall receive a crown of life, which Yahuwah have promised to them that love him. Let no man, when he is tempted, let no man say, pardon me, when he is tempted, I am tempted of Elohim, for Elohim cannot be tempted with evil, neither tempt he any man. But every man is tempted when he's drawn away of his own lust and enticed, that when lust hath conceived, it bring forth sin, and sin, when it is finished, bring forth death. Do not err, my beloved brethren. Go to Daniel chapter 9 so you can just see what he called Daniel beloved. And then we'll continue on. Praise y'all for the word. Oh, I'm not in Daniel 9. Might be Daniel 10. Give me 1 second, y'all. Might be Daniel 8, look like my pages. Let's see what it is, man. I remember what's saying. I remember what's that. Getting old, man. The one thing that you want to be able to have the manifestation for yourself is that this man acknowledges that you are loved on high. And it's not necessarily something, because you got to remember something. Yahuwah loving you is not something that you may ever hear from out of his mouth. There is Daniel 9 and 21. We'll look at it like it wasn't Daniel 10, I just overlooked it. Daniel 9 and 21. Yea, while I was speaking in prayer, even the man Gabriel, whom I had seen in the vision at the beginning, caused to fly swiftly, touched me about the time of the evening oblation. He informed me and talked with me and said, O Daniel, I am now come forth to give thee skill and understanding. At the beginning of thy supplications the commandment came forth, and I have come to show thee, for thou art greatly beloved, therefore understand the matter and consider the vision. Why is Daniel greatly beloved? Daniel is greatly beloved because of his behavior and his faith. His faith and behavior is what made him greatly beloved. And we're going to see that in something the Master said to the Apostle. Come on to Daniel chapter 10. Look at verse 11. And then we get back over here to Romans chapter 5. And he said unto me, O Daniel, a man greatly beloved, understand the words that I speak unto thee, and stand upright, for unto thee am I now sent. And when he spoken this word unto me, I stood trembling. And he said unto me, Fear not, Daniel, for the first day that thou didst set thy heart to understand, to chasten thyself before Elohim, thy words were heard, and I have come for thy words. Remember, this is when Daniel is taking 21 days to not eat any pleasant bread, neither no flesh nor wine in his mouth, nor did he anoint himself at all. So again, he was manifesting his faith in deed and in truth. And it caused him to be called greatly beloved by Malachim of Elohim. That Malachim of Elohim can't make that statement on his own volition. Romans chapter 5. He's making that assertion because of that's the edict that's been given from on high. This is a man greatly beloved in the eyesight of Elohim. Why? Because of his actions. Because of his faith. Because he loved Elohim with all his heart and all his strength and all his soul. Romans chapter 5, verse 7, verse 6. Romans 5 and 6. For when we were yet without strength in due time, Mashiach died for the ungodly. For scarcely for a righteous man would one die, yet peradventure for a good man some would even dare to die. But Elohim commended his love towards us, in that while we were yet sinners, Mashiach died for us. Much more then, being now justified by his blood, we shall be saved from wrath through him. For if when we were enemies we were reconciled to Elohim by the death of his Son, much more being reconciled we shall be saved by his life. And not only so, but we also joy in Elohim through our Master Yahushua HaMashiach, by whom we have now received the atonement. Let's look at John chapter 15. John chapter 15, verse 13. Make it 12. Matter of fact, make it 9. As the Father hath loved me, so have I loved you. Continue ye in my love. If you keep my commandments, you shall abide in my love, even as I kept my Father's commandments, and abide in his love. These things have I spoken unto you, that my joy might remain in you, that your joy might be full. This is my commandment, that you love one another as I have loved you. Greater love hath no man than this, that a man lay his life down for his friends. This is what caused the Father to love the Son, because the Son was willing to do the will of the Father. The Son's hope, trust, and service was to his Father and what his Father commanded him to do. Therefore, the Father would love him. See, let's look at John 3:16. Now, he's telling them to continue in his love. He's also letting them know that he has loved them. He even told him, you didn't choose me, I chose you. You didn't love me, I loved you. I chose you unto salvation. He never had to walk around telling these people that he loved them, because they knew it when they were with him. The same way when we'll read it, where Peter got vexed in his spirit when the Master kept asking him, did he love him? Because Peter had already been showing him that he loved him because he followed him. And we'll see that in a moment. John 3:16. For Elohim so loved the world that he gave his only begotten Son, that whoever believe in him should not perish but have everlasting life. It's the same token of what he said back. Go get Deuteronomy chapter 7. He loved you enough to bring you out of the bondage of sin and death, recreating, showing the same love that he showed your ancestors in the law. And it was because of a promise. And because of these men holding to that promise. Deuteronomy 7 and 9. I'm sorry, 7 and 6. For thou art Kadesh people unto Yahuwah the Elohim. Yahuwah the Elohim have chosen thee to be a special people unto himself above all people that are upon the face of the earth. Yahuwah did not set his love upon you, nor choose you because you were more in number than any people, for you were the fewest of all people. But because Yahuwah loved you, because he would keep the oath which he had sworn unto your fathers, Yahuwah brought you out with a mighty hand and redeemed you out of the house of bondmen, from the hand of Pharaoh, king of Mizraim. Know therefore that Yahuwah the Elohim, he is Elohim, the faithful Elohim, which keep covenant and mercy with them that love him, and keep his commandments to 1,000 generations. Notice that they're separated. Love him and keep his commandments. Love him not only in deed, but in truth. You believe in him, and then you manifest your belief in him through your actions. Love him and keep his commandments. If you love him, you will believe in him, you will trust in him, you will hope in him, and therefore you will lay your life down for him, literally and spiritually. You good in John 3:16? I'm not use. I'm about to run out of time. Let's look at John chapter 3. John chapter 3, my bad. We're already in John chapter 3. I think it's about Luke chapter 3. Or Luke chapter 4. Let me see which one it is. Luke chapter 5, verse 1. Let's look at Peter real fast. Sit back and you can see how Peter showed Hamashiach that he loved him. And it came to pass as the people pressed upon him to hear the word of Elohim, he stood by the lake of Gennesaret, and saw two ships standing by the lake, but the fishermen were gone out of them, and they were washing their nets. And he entered into one of the ships, which was Simon's, and prayed him that he would thrust out a little from the land. And he sat down and taught the people out of the ship. And when he had left speaking, he said unto Simon, launch out into the deep, and let your nets for a drop. Simon answering said unto him, Master, we have toiled all the night, and have taken nothing. Nevertheless, at thy word, I will let down the net. And when he had done this, they enclosed a great multitude of fishes, and their net brake. And they beckoned unto their partners which were in the other ship, that they should come and help them. And they came and filled both the ships, so that they began to sink. When Simon Peter saw it, he fell down at Yahushua's knees, saying, Depart from me, for I am a sinful man, O Master. For he was astonished, and all that were with him, at the draught of fishes which they had taken. And so was also James and John, the sons of Zebedee, which were partners with Simon. Yahushua said unto Simon, Fear not, from henceforth thou shalt catch men. And when they had brought their ships to the land, they forsook all and followed him. Most High willing, gonna talk about that on the Shabbat day, that is. It said they forsook all and followed him. Ain't many people willing to do that. Some of us would have seen that and like, that was all right. And you just would have waited for the next time you seen him. You wouldn't have gave up everything and followed him right then and there on the spot. At that point in time, those men gave up their entire life. Every dream, every hope, every desire that they had for their life stopped that day. Straight up, it stopped that day. It was done, it was over, it was finished that day. Forsook everything. Right then and there, Peter manifested through deed and in truth, through deed and through faith, that he loved this man. Right there on the spot. All he needed to see was this man overload a ship with some fish. I'm out of here. I love this man. I love this man. Ain't nothing else to say. Matthew chapter 16, about verse 15. After that, John chapter 6. (16 and 13). Matthew 16 and 13, and then John 6 and 65. After that, John 21. When Yahushua came into the coast of Caesarea Philippi, he asked the disciples, saying, Whom do men say that I, the Son of Man, am? And they said, Some say that thou art John the Baptist, some Elijah, and other Jeremiah, or one of the prophets. He saith unto them, But whom say ye that I am? Simon Peter answered and said, Thou art the Mashiach, the Son of the living Elohim. Yahushua answered and said unto him, Baruch art thou, Simon Bar-Jonah, for flesh and blood have not revealed it unto thee, but my Father which is in Shamahim. His faith is manifested. He said he's Baruch, he's blessed. Faith is a blessed thing to have. They asked who he was. Simon said, Oh man, yeah, you're the anointed one, man. You the son of Yah, man. What you mean? What do you mean? He said it so matter of factly. John 6:65. Make it 64. Screw it. 1663. It is the Ruach that quickened, the flesh profit nothing. The words that I speak unto you, they are Ruach and they are life. But there are some of you that believe not. For Yahushua knew from the beginning who they were that believed not and who should betray him. He said, Therefore said I unto you, that no man can come unto me except it were given unto him of my Father. From that time many of the disciples went back and walked no more with him. Then Yahushua said to the 12, Will you also go away? Then Simon Peter answered him, Master, to whom shall we go? Thou hast the words of eternal life, and we believe and are sure that thou art the Mashiach, the Son of the living Elohim. Again, Peter shows his faith. Again, Peter shows it through action. Again, Peter shows that he loves him. He doesn't have to tell him. He keeps showing him. Oh yeah, we got one more. Luke 23. We got one more. One more before the John 21. We ain't even really getting into Mashiach showing his love. It's showing this from the aspect of other men. Because we know Mashiach showed his, he laid his life down. That man ain't have to do that. Not only did he show that he loved the Father, he showed that he loved us. (23 and 22 and 47 of Luke). It say one of them. You really want to read it where it say that it's Peter. Because we know it's Peter, but we want to see that it say Peter. Oh, let me see. It's got to be Mark. Oh, it's got Peter's name on that. Matthew ain't got his name on that either. Come on over here to Mark, y'all. Oh, y'all should Mark didn't say Peter's name either. I'm trying to remember which one got his name on it. Excuse me. Boy, trying to dissipate, trying to go away. But come on, Matthew 26. It was all right. And 50. And Yahushua said unto him, Friend, wherefore art thou come? Then came they and laid hands on Yahushua and took him. And behold, one of them which were with Yahushua stretched out his hand and drew his sword and struck the servant of the high priest and smote off his ear. Then said Yahushua unto him, Put up again thy sword into his place, for all they that take the sword shall perish with the sword. So he's ready to rock and roll on this. Again, he's showing his love yet again. You know what I say, man, love is just something it's just something that we have to do towards Elohim. It's the reason why the Apostle John made the statement that he made. It's the reason why he makes that statement. John 21, and we stop it right there, man. It's almost 9 o'clock. John 21:15. So when they had dined, Yahushua saith to Simon Peter, Simon, son of Jonah, lovest thou me more than these? And he said to him, yeah, master, thou know that I love thee. Notice that he said, you know it. He said unto him, feed my lambs. He saith again, sent him again the second time, Simon, son of Jonah, love thou me? He saith unto him, yea, master, thou know that I love thee. He saith unto him, feed my sheep. He saith unto him the third time, Simon, son of Jonah, love thou me? Peter was grieved because he said unto him the third time, love thou me? And he said unto him, master, thou know all things, thou know that I love thee. Yahushua saith unto him, feed my sheep. You should notice that Peter said, you know that I love you. Did Peter need to walk around and tell the man that he loved him? We just looked at examples of why the master would know Peter loved him, because of his faith and because of his deeds. The same way that Yah knew that Daniel loved him because of his faith and because of his deeds. And Yah knew that Abraham loved him because of his faith and his deeds. And that's why these men's hearts were assured before Elohim, is for all the things that they went before him and did, because they didn't love him in word, they loved him in deed and truth. And if we do these things, then he will love us as well, and we will be greatly beloved, and we will be found to be in his presence and bask in his esteem. So with that being said, hallelujah for Yahushua and the word. I pray everybody understood all of that this evening. I appreciate everybody this evening, and love everybody, and bless everybody at the house of Yah, name of Yahushua and Mashiach. I'll let y'all know where we're going to be at physically. But that being said, man, unless anybody got any questions, anything they want to add, man, I'm going to let y'all slide. I appreciate y'all. Love y'all, man. Y'all willing to the Sabbath.